and be happy to take your questions.
Go ahead, Alana.
Just want to clarify, so you're not going to take questions on something, but it's actually questions about something super similar. You're saying this might go before the courts, this could be legal action, but that's the exact same thing that happened on these phone calls. There was a man who was 3 weeks away from a criminal trial, and you decided to speak with him on the phone. So I wonder if you can explain why you thought that was appropriate.
As I mentioned, this is likely to be the subject of defamation proceedings. I have the ability to seek advice from my justice officials. It's actually part of their job. The advice that I received from my justice officials was that there were several court actions that were taking place, and until they were resolved before the court, no further action could be taken. I follow this advice.
So why are you on a phone call with him?
As I mentioned, the advice that I received from my justice officials was that there were matters that were before the courts, and until those were resolved, there could be no further action, and I took that advice.
But is it appropriate to be on a phone call with him?
As I mentioned, that I do seek a lot of input from a lot of people on a lot of things, and I seek advice from my justice minister. And when I asked his advice, he said that there were matters that were before the court that needed to be resolved, and there could be no further action, and I took his advice.
Did you seek advice from your justice officials prior to speaking with Artur Pawlowski, charged with criminal mischief and breach of the Criminal Infrastructure Defense Act?
I have sought my advice from my justice officials on several matters, and the advice that they have given is that there are matters that need to be resolved before the courts. Nothing more can be done until those court cases are decided, and I've taken that advice.
But did you take that advice prior to the phone call?
Alana, you've had 3 questions, and there's a whole room. Just because you don't like the answer she's giving doesn't mean she's not giving an answer.
We've had one answer. We've had one answer.
So we will go to the next. Do you have a follow-up, Marksoff?